Every pot is as exciting to uncover as one previously, and you're always hoping for, you know, that pot, that wow pot. My first encounter with it, I got about 50% rejects, total disasters. I was using the wrong clay, I was using reclaimed clay, so I didn't really know what I was using. I would say use Ashraf Anna's white stoneware. I've tried others, and I haven't found one that works as well as that. The glaze is very simple. 500 grams of black copper oxide, 50 grams of borax frit, and 11 grams of bentonite. I choose to spray the pots, although if you want to have a go, you're not going to buy a compressor and a spray gun just to do one or two. You can paint it on, but when you paint it on, you need to lay the glaze on. Don't try and spread it round the pot, just lay it on, let it soak in, and you can get a good result with that. Sometimes you see the brush marks, but that's not always a negative thing. The brush marks can add a little bit of character to it. All the differences in colour are determined a lot by the thickness of the glaze, but we'll see those two, and we'll leave the other one. If you're going to make the pot, you need to make it to the size of the container you're going to reduce it with. And I quite like the bean tins from a canteen. Let's say if you put one of these pots in the kiln and you put a dustbin over the top, it'd have no effect at all, because there's too much atmosphere within the dustbin. So if you can get it in a bean tin, and the bean, there's sort of half an inch around the tin, as soon as that goes on, the pot is screaming to get some oxygen. It just soaks in the smoke and the reduction atmosphere, which affects the colours. I make bigger ones, and then as a consequence of that, if you want to go higher, you're constantly looking at containers and things that are round. That big pan I got from a scrapyard. It's the biggest thing I can do at the moment, is to get the maximum reduction on the pot. Here we go, off we go again. The temperature is critical, 1020 degrees centigrade top temperature, and then shut off the kiln. All I do is I put a bit of fibre on there, a bit of fibre on the top. There's a period of time you've got to wait. It takes about 4 minutes for the temperature to drop to 760. I let it drop to 765, because by the time I've got that lid off, they're still going down, so they'll probably end up in the sawdust and the tins at 760. And then you flame them with the strips of paper for about 30 seconds, 15 seconds. When the paper burns, you put the lids on. Sometimes it takes longer than others. And then you put the timer on, leave them under the tin for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, just lift the tin down. You can see the colours all dancing around the pot. And my understanding is, and I don't know, I'm only guessing now, is when you burp it, the cold air goes in and more or less freezes whatever was happening on the surface of the pot at the time. After an hour, they let them cool for an hour, and then you lift the pot and it's either bingo or it's bongo. There we go. There we go.
Oh!
Now the colours will develop a little as it cools down. It's sort of lemony. Okay.
Oh, lots of purple. Oh, I know.
Thank you, Lord.
Lovely bit of red round there, and the yellow.
Yeah.
The yellow at the
really
bottom
red,
does
isn't
as
it?
well, doesn't it? If you take the temperature too high, the glaze will become metallic. It will reduce to copper, and it's quite pleasant that. But there you've got to be at about 1060 degrees. There's a pot here that has gone much too high. You can see the bubbles. It's gone metallic, but it's boiled. But the colours aren't too bad. All the differences in colour. I think a lot is to do with the flaming. It's to do with the cooling down, but I think the flames created by the newspaper strips sort of lick around the pot, and that's what creates the differences, rather than it be just being a straight, ordinary red or orange pot. This is a real mishmash, it's all sorts. Some lovely flashing there, and I think it comes from the flaming paper.